IVC, Dale Gatefield 33 back with another video. So this is going to be a car boot sale finds video for a change. Yeah, can't think of anything original to do, well, or rather I can, but haven't got my backside in gear to plan it and sort it out yet. But anyway, so this is about just last week, last week's car boot sale. Spoiler alert, it wasn't an earth-shattering car boot sale, but reasonably interesting to me anyway. So I just thought I would show what I found last week. Went to 2 car boot sales last Sunday, and I'm going to go in reverse order. The second one I found quite a bit at. The first one I only found one thing at, so I'll show that at the end. So yeah, so went to, say, the second car boot sale, wasn't having much luck, was about to go actually empty-handed. And then a van pulled up and it was a bit of a kind of house clearance thing, and then there was a box of records came out, and I happened to be right place, right time. Went through it and said, how much are the records? He said 50 pence each. So I got a bit of a stack of stuff, some of which was fairly decent, some of which I probably wouldn't have bothered with, but as I was going through it, it piqued my interest. So I perhaps picked up more than I would have done. Yeah, he did me a deal on a bundle of stuff I had anyway, so it was less than 50 pence each. So, you know, why not? So first 3 records I'm going to show, I actually got not for the music. I probably won't play any of them, maybe one of them. So yeah, but I got them for this, I think for the story. They set up the story. So as I said, this was a clearance. So you know, normally what that means is unfortunately someone's passed away, and either a company or family are getting rid of belongings that they don't want to keep, and the records were part of that. So I was going through and saw this record, very old, 1950s, great jazz reeds, but as is often of interest to me, there's some writing on the back. So it's got Bryn Evans, 12 Harol Duffid, I'm sorry, I don't speak Welsh, I can't pronounce that, Bitchgrove, Cardiff, 24th of May, it doesn't say what year. I happened to be at the car boot sale on the 25th of May, 2025, but this could have been, you know, many years prior to that. This could have been 60 odd years before this was written. And some little comments against some of the tracks. Lush, didn't know Lush was a thing in 1950s. Lush, unless Lush meant something different in Wales then. Cool Man, Lush and Fabulous against on track 2, side 2, and a couple more Lushes. And then a few other bits and bobs written on it. Bryn's, it's Bryn's record. So he'd been doodling whilst listening to the records. So that was interesting. That gave me a bit of context for the collection. And I did actually, when I got home, it kind of, one of the other records had, a lot of the other records had a sticker with the name and address on it, which was also linked to this person. So I did Google, and what I found out, the only thing I could find out was when I Googled his name, because obviously Bryn Evans isn't a common name in Hampshire particularly. So when I put Bryn Evans and the sort of the village that he lived in, up did come a tribute on the Southampton Rugby Football Facebook page with some people, you know, a tribute saying, someone is saying, announced that he'd passed away, and a few people giving commiserations, etc., etc. So got a bit of background there that Bryn Evans from Cardiff, who came to Hampshire at one point, played rugby for Southampton Rugby Football Club. So there you go. Put a bit of context in my mind, because I say it's always, when you're doing these house clearance type things, it's always quite sad that someone's life, you know, it'll come to me, my family will be chucking all my records out of a van at a car boot sale in a few years' time. Let's hope not. Let's hope I've educated them to not do that. So that's the first record that I'm probably not going to play, but it gave me some context for what I was going through. The next one made me smile. There are several Yes albums in the box, but this is Yes Yesterday, so a greatest hits compilation, if that's such a thing, for Yes. But it had this post-it on it that said, "Don't bother unless you like prog rock!" exclamation mark. So obviously in his collection, it was a regret perhaps buying that record, and I can sympathise with that. And then the final record I might not play, although I might, this is the one I may well play, is a copy of 10 Years After. So yeah, I do like my late 60s, early 70s blues rock. I think this is from 69. And yeah, this is, this is a US press, which lovely condition, a little bit of rubbing on the cover, but not much. And the record's in minty. I don't think it's ever been played. In fact, yeah, so there's an example. All the other records had this label with Evans and his address. So he kind of, that's how he catalogued his records. So the reason I probably won't play this is I've already got a UK copy of this, and in fact my UK copy of this has been purged from the collection. It's not quite, for me, hitting it with my late 60s blues rock, although I may give this another listen. I've only kept one 10 Years After record. I think Cricklewood Green is the only one that I've really kept that I like out of my 3 or 4 albums that I had by them. But anyway, that's an aside. So not probably going to play that, but so why did I pick it out? Well, I picked it out. So that's a US press, as I said, on London. It's a London Records Diram press. It was pristine, and it had a pristine inner sleeve. So must have been from 71, I'm assuming. So it wasn't a 70. I think they came out in 70, that album perhaps. But looking at these albums, some of them, from what I can tell, look, the latest ones of these were issued in 1971. So this is a sleeve, an inner sleeve from London Records, kind of advertising Decca, London, Diram, stable artists' albums from around late 60s through to, I think I said about 71 seems to be the latest. But this is crisp, not a crease, and just really interesting. So yeah, I bought that record for probably 40 pence for that inner sleeve. 8 minutes I've wasted. I'm not shown anything that I'm going to listen to. So yeah, the collection was a lot of, there was a bit of jazz, a bit of blues rock, typically, is what it was. And it went from, say, this really old stuff through. So there were a number of 7-inch EPs. So again, virtually nothing. I took a chance on some of them. And I'm going to show a handful or so of them here. So here is Cripple Clarence Lofton. This is a 50s, I think, EP on Vogue, British release on Vogue. Jazz, I think, jazz pianist. You've got this one here. Gene Norman presents Max Roach and Clifford Brown. Another 50s, I think, probably by the looks of it, jazz release again on Vogue. There's a French EP, Treasury of Jazz, but this is blues release. Sonny Boy Williamson there. So that's on RCA Victor. This one is quite rare. Muddy Waters. So a Muddy Waters with Little Walter on harmonica, Mississippi Blues. It's got I Can't Be Satisfied, I Feel Like Going Home, Evans Shuffle, and Louisiana Blues. What's that on? That's on Vogue as well. So yeah. Thelonious Monk, Nutty Monk. That's a 2-track on Esquire. And then finally what we've got here, Blind Willie Johnson Treasures of North American Negro Music Volume 2. Sort of gatefold with, and that's on Fontana. So yeah, so a few EPs that I said I was just going to grab those. They're of interest. I may play them once. A 10-inch. This was quite interesting to me. And jazz 10-inch. This is Young Man with a Horn, Miles Davis, 10-inch from 1953. Again, I think that I've cleaned this up and played it as well. I test played it. It's a little bit crackly. It's quite clean vinyl, but obviously it's 72 years old. So it's in remarkable condition for 72 years old. And then on to the records. So there was some more 10 years after in there. This one I have kept and we'll give a spin to. This is recorded live, a double album from 73. This is a French press, but absolutely mint. Quite a lot of these records, you can tell, there was no spindle wear at all. They hadn't been played. These next two were of interest. So when I saw them, they looked interesting. Hookfoot, 1971 release by Hookfoot. There is Hookfoot, textured gatefold on the DJM label, same label as Elton John, which I'll get onto. So yeah, so the 4 band members here, Caleb Quay, who had a Psych single issue that was quite collectible. Ian Duck, Dave Glover and Roger Pope are the members of Hookfoot. This is from 1971, their debut release on DJM, but I'm just showing you this is from my collection. Tumbleweed Connection, recorded the year before, has those same 4 people as part of the backing band. So they were if you like, the backing band to Elton John on Tumbleweed Connection. And you can probably tell there's a lot of similarity. This is a sort of country blues, soft rock album, but I played this through, really actually enjoyed it. It's got a couple of covers on it. It's got Bluebird, Stephen Still's song opens, and that's not an okay cover. And then on side 2, it's got Don't Let It Bring You Down, Neil Young cover, which is not so good in my mind. But yeah, it's interesting. It's blues, country, a bit of jazzy stuff going on. Quite interesting. I actually enjoyed this when I played it. And also there was another pristine, unplayed, no spindle mark of their second album from 1972, which I haven't played yet, but hopefully it'll be similar to the first album, probably a step down. That's normally the thing. And then finally, out of that box, something probably didn't need to, but glad I picked up is, and this is so I put this in a gatefold sleeve, so apologies. This is Wings, Venus and Mars. So yeah, so what? So yeah, I've said it a number of times over the years I've been making videos. I've never really got into solo Beatles, and a few years ago I bought Ram and enjoyed that, and that entered the collection. And that was my only. I have George Harrison's All Things Must Pass on CD, but never been tempted to buy it on vinyl. But last year I picked up Imagine, and it's on the cusp of staying in the collection or going. But I also picked this up last year and actually quite enjoyed it and put it in the collection. But there was another copy of it, and this was again immaculate. So I picked it up, 50p. I thought it might be an upgrade because the one I got was good, but had a few light marks and a few crackles. So this one is absolutely pristine. But what kind of makes me very happy to pick it up is, he says, ooh, you can tell what that was. It not only comes with both of the posters, immaculate and never opened, but it comes with that sticker and also the round sticker. So say this has probably never been opened or played, and came with all the gumph with it. So yeah, an upgrade to the collection. So that was everything I found at that car boot at say, well, less than 50 pence a go. So I was happy with that. So the only thing I found at the first car boot, but it was a nice thing to find, was this. So this is, get it out, this is the Trojan story, a 3 LP set. And yeah, so somebody who occasionally has records, but sets up, drives his car into the car boot sale. He has a wander around himself looking for stuff to sell, and then sets up a bit later. And I was about to leave to go to the second boot sale, and he was just starting to set up. So I said, have you got any records this week? Sometimes he does. And he said, oh, I've only got 2. And he handed me the 2 records, and this was one of them. And I said, how much is this? He said, a £5. So I thought, yeah, I'm having that for a £5. So yeah, so the records are clean. There's some kind of like mildew in them that hasn't come out at first cleaning. Nothing excessive. It's, reggae records, they're clean for reggae. They haven't really been played, glossy, but they've got this slight mildew in them. The cover's got a little bit of damage. In fact, what I've done is, because this cover is a nightmare, I've just put a piece of cardboard in the cover to keep its shape, and I will keep these outside of the sleeve. It's rare that I keep records outside of the cover, because the cover, as its name suggests, is there to cover the records and stop them getting damaged. However, in this case, I will, because this is a faff of a sleeve, and is only going to get more damaged if I keep trying to pull, particularly with 3 heavy kind of vinyl records in it. But anyway, that was nice to find. I have got a CD. I think they did is it a 3 CD box of this, or a double CD? Can't remember. I bought 2 or 3 years ago of this, so I've got it already, the music. But really nice to have an original. It's got a pretty monstrous label tear on it, but to be honest, really happy to find that for a £5. So yeah, I think that's last week's car boot sale. Couple of days till the next one. Okay, cheers, Lucy. Bye.